Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pickleball and Politics, where I combine my quest to stay out of the kitchen with my passion for politics. I don't have any pickleball for you today. Instead, I've saw the last, I don't want to say big, I've saw the last contender in the Republican Party. This morning, I went and saw former governor and former ambassador Nikki Haley of the state of South Carolina. She had a town hall meeting. They call them town halls. I don't quite know where they get that from, but they call it a town hall meeting. It was at the Atkinson Country Club in, amazingly, Atkinson, New Hampshire. I have tons of observations. This probably will be in two parts because there was a lot to say about seeing the former governor. First, there were virtually no signs leading to the venue, which surprised me because when you go to these rallies, usually as soon as you get off the highway exit, you'll start to see signs. Halfway down, you'll see some more signs. At major intersections where you're supposed to go left or supposed to go right, you'll see signs. I didn't see any of that. I saw a bunch of Trump yard signs outside people's houses. And I mean big signs. Oh, you can't see my hands, right? Big signs, like full 7-8 feet long Trump signs. One actually said Trump Pence, and I thought somebody needs to spray paint Pence out of there. Lots and lots of Donald J. Trump signs, but no Haley signs until I actually got to the Atkinson Country Club. Everything about this rally was different. Number one, the parking lot was filled with New Hampshire, with Massachusetts license plates. But I also noticed one from Michigan, several from New York, several from New Jersey, and even one from Georgia. So that was a little different. I haven't seen that at other rallies before. I've seen that at Trump rallies because sometimes people travel far to go see Trump, but I haven't seen it at Chris Christie, Ron DeSantis, or Vivek Ramaswamy. The whole crowd was very different. Elderly, a lot of men in suits, mostly people over 50, one or two kids, not kids, but like young adults splatted, and a lot of women. Which makes sense because it's a woman. Nikki Haley is a woman, but a lot of women, many more women than I've seen at other rallies. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know why, but there were. It was also held at 10 o'clock. I got there at about 9:20. I got a seat in the second row. I was a single by myself, so it's easy to find a seat. Other people were kind of having trouble finding a seat as the event got closer to starting. There was a woman in a Nikki Haley sweater who was arranging people for the camera shots behind on the rafters and in the front rows. And she was moving people around. Can you go here? Can you go there? And kind of manipulating the crowd a little bit for the visual. And then I noticed once the event started and the door closed, it was like I said, it was in a country club. So it was sort of like a ballroom. Not a big ballroom, a ballroom. She then took a seat behind on the rafters behind where Nikki would be. So it was basically three sides around Nikki and people, facing her, behind her. And this woman that went and rearranged the seats right before the rally started and Nikki Haley came out, she sat down and she nodded a lot at every single thing everybody said. It started with a Representative Gannon. I believe he's a New Hampshire state senator. And then Chris Sununu came out because he recently endorsed her. So before that, I want to get back into it. I would say this was the most organized campaign I'd seen minus Trump's. Trump has he's got a whole production number. This was a very organized campaign. From the moment you walked in the door, are you here for the rally? Go downstairs. Have you registered? They had all sorts of merchandise for sale. And you could get this New Hampshire loves, New Age loves Nikki Haley. New Hampshire loves Nikki Haley at NikkiHaley.com, and the other one says Nikki Haley for president. That they gave me for free. This there were different signs that sort of looked like this that were on every seat. It was very, very organized that way. And then they gave me this little pamphlet. I'm not quite sure what it says. I didn't look. It says a new generation of conservative leadership, strong and proud, Nikki Haley for president, get involved. And then it has a bunch of stuff of what she'll do. I would say it's not as sophisticated as Vivek. They were selling hats and T-shirts and buttons, and some people were buying them. Not me, okay? So it was sort of interesting that they served coffee. Now, I'm starting to get a little spoiled at these. I've had appetizers and drinks at Vivek's. I've had a breakfast at Vivek's. I've had a full barbecue at Chris Christie's. Scott Brown had all sorts of food when I went there to see Vivek Ramaswamy, and they ran out of food, but they had plenty of beer. So it all was good, but I'm sort of used to getting a little snack at these. And there were some people that were like, wow, this is great. They served us coffee. And I thought, you need to go to some of these other rallies because they lay out a whole big full meal for you. As something I've noticed, it happened to me at Turning Point, and it's happened to me at a few other rallies. My phone doesn't work. For whatever reason, I can't send a text. I can't receive anything. They're kind of shutting me down. I'm starting to get a little complex that there might be something more to this because the people around me, their phones were working. The song Don't Stop Me Now by Queen was playing, and that is when that song stopped. Nikki Haley was late. She was about 15 minutes late. The state senator, Gannon, came out. He talked, and then the man came out behind the curtain. Chris Sununu, the governor of New Hampshire, who has since endorsed Nikki Haley this week, all of a sudden he came out behind the curtain on the side. It was a little Oz-ish for me, to tell you the truth. I just thought, the man behind the curtain, here he goes. I will say, before the rally started, there was the most annoying woman beside me who wouldn't stop talking to her friend about her Christmas shirts. And I would say this was the least friendly crowd I had been around at a rally. I try to engage with everybody around me and talk. Hi, how are you? Good morning. Is anybody sitting there? I'm going to go to the restroom. I'm going to leave my coat here. Is that okay? Would you watch it? Like, very, very cold. Very cold. The crowd was very rhino to me. Very, very rhino. I could smell the deep state influence. That's just how I felt. This was such a different rally than even Chris Christie. Ron DeSantis, I still can't figure out what was going on at that rally. There's just no energy. There's just a dying campaign with Ron DeSantis. Vivek Ramaswamy has so much energy and so much confidence, and he's so engaging with people, and he seems to be loving what he's doing right now, that sort of feeds the crowd a little bit. There were people falling asleep during this rally, people on their phones during this rally. It was not a lively crowd. It was very much a country club crowd. It reminded me of old school Republican crowd. Like I said, a lot of gentlemen in suits and gentlemen with dress pants and a sweater and a shirt and tie. I was just wondering where the Patriots were. And I don't mean the New England Patriots, because we know they're not showing up this season. But where are the Patriots here? Are these people going to fight for our country? are they just going to accept whatever happens next to it? And that was my impression of the people I was with. As I said, Sununu came from behind the curtain. It just reminded me of Oz. And he talked about how much national media attention he was getting these days. And I thought it was interesting because when I saw him with Chris Christie, he was dressed much more casual. And now he's in his navy blue suit. And I just had to wonder, is he getting ready for his next move? Because he is not running for governor of New Hampshire again. And I happen to believe he is loving his time in the national spotlight, endorsing Nikki in the first of the nation primary of the Granite State of New Hampshire. And he was kind of loving himself, to tell you the truth. He said that Trump won't win the nomination, is what Chris Sununu said. He also said that he and Nikki did support Trump in 2016, but that time has passed, and that he was the right person at that time, but he's not the right person now, that the country must move forward, that there's too much chaos that is following him, and that we must move forward. And he went on and on, quite loving his attention. He knew the cameras were there, and he was sort of loving it. And then all of a sudden, Nikki Haley came out, and the first thing she did was complain. It was cold. And right there, as we get to right where Nikki's going to come out, and I'm going to tell you everything she said, we're going to go to part 2. So don't go anywhere. I want you to go hit part 2, because I'll be posting it within an hour or two after you see part 1. As you know, leave me a comment. I love your comments. You can find me on Instagram or on Getter at Pickleball and Politics. You can go to Twitter and find me at Pickle and Paul on Twitter. X, people are calling it X. I'm getting confused now in my head. Pickle and Paul. Go to my website, pickleballandpolitics.com, or right here on my YouTube channel. Leave me a comment. I love to hear from you. Subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you're thinking, okay? I will see you within the hour, okay, for part 2. Thanks for joining me on Pickleball and Politics. Go watch part 2 now.